If you're listening to this, you may be interested in or have been invited to participate in a radical recovery peer support group. Therefore, it is worth mentioning that the driving factor of the group is robust participation. We believe that participation increases engagement and reduces the monotony of only having the group facilitator present material. The biggest hurdle is determining if you believe you can answer 85% of the questions. Hopefully, you'll receive a question list or the book a couple of weeks before the group begins. If that fails, there is at least a week or two between the first group session where no questions are answered and the second session. We suggest using that time to look over the questions and determine if you can answer 85% of the questions. To earn a certificate of completion, your book's answers must be checked for quality and completeness. All participation in this group is voluntary. However, in some instances, a person may be mandated to participate. Even in this scenario, the person has the ability to refuse participation, which may result in some other option or consequence for them. This is based on their situation and has nothing to do with the group process. Now, because participation is voluntary, we cannot be sure from one group to another how many people will participate, causing differences from group to group of how much material any one person will present. Our program offers a certificate of participation and a certificate of completion. People may need a certificate to receive some benefit or to avert a consequence. To receive either certificate, a person will have different participation requirements. Only a certificate of completion will allow a participant to take the next step of becoming a group facilitator. Group facilitators must be able to highly identify with the program. This means that for all the questions other than the ones labeled, "How does this passage connect to?" the facilitator must be able to answer 85% of the questions. Everyone can participate by taking turns reading the material and answering, "How does this passage connect to?" But those who are unable to complete at least 85% of the questions may struggle to answer them in group, which is why only those seeking a certificate of completion to become facilitators will answer the questions during group. While many people may participate in the group for different reasons, we encourage everyone to participate as if they're trying to earn a certificate of completion because it'll make the group more dynamic and peer-supported. About this program. Radical Recovery Peer Support is a program that utilizes peer support to help individuals achieve wellness and personal growth. The author of the program uses first-person inspirational passages to draw parallels between concepts and recovery. The program involves group sessions that can be done either in person or online. For the group programs, we have three options. The book group is a general wellness and personal growth group, which is simply called Radical Recovery Peer Support. There is also a group with a focus on higher or continued education called RRPS University. RRPS University emphasizes a crucial element of recovery is getting involved in and taking education serious as a means of achieving a better quality of life. Finally, there's a version of RRPS for criminal reentry called RRPS Liberation, which discusses developing new belief systems that will help turn our lives around after an arrest. Over the course of 5 sessions, each group covers important concepts like the linear growth model and parallel recovery concepts. It also focuses on the 9 recovery fundamentals, which include principles like honesty, trust, acceptance, hope, personal responsibility, self-advocacy, and others. How each group presents the concepts and fundamentals is unique. The linear growth model recognizes that while growth and recovery are not always linear, putting in effort does often lead to progress over time. Growth may even appear uneven, with periods of progress and periods of struggle. However, making consistent efforts through programs like Radical Recovery Peer Support can help us move closer to our hope of achieving stability and wellness. RRPS is a cognitive behavioral therapy. It is such because the description of the concepts and fundamentals, as well as the first-person descriptions of the recovery journey, addresses beliefs, thoughts, and feelings commonly experienced in a specific but large audience. Each program addresses thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that held the author back and provides a solution of improving our thoughts, beliefs, and control over our feelings by getting more aligned with positive expressions of recovery concepts and fundamentals. Examples of how this is done in RRPS Liberation include changing thoughts for people with criminal history, such as "only my failures matter" to "I have hope even though it's tougher with a record." Changing thoughts of "all probation officers are out to get me" to "many of them want to help." Reduces dichotomous thinking by encouraging the view that it's not all black or white or one or the other, but there are levels of growth on a continuum and a new start can be made at any time. The programs also incorporate themes of rational emotive therapy in the different events emphasized in each program, with more general distressing circumstances in the original RRPS to more specific events such as educational neglect in RRPS University and the stigma of having a criminal record in RRPS Liberation, to our beliefs about these issues and the consequences for results of those beliefs. This program also employs themes of reality therapy in its emphasis on personal choice and personal responsibility. The program also utilizes a wide variety of homework questions that are done outside of group, common of CBT programs, which reinforce the goals of the program. Each passage that relates an experience based on a concept or fundamental usually focuses on a change in thinking that improves each outcome. Here is the 5-session schedule. Session 1 covers an introduction to the linear growth model, the parallel recovery concepts, and the 9 recovery fundamentals. Session 2 covers the 3 parallel recovery concepts. Session 3 covers the first 3 fundamentals of honesty, trust, and acceptance. Session 4 covers hope, personal responsibility, and self-advocacy. And Session 5 covers support, purpose, and self-actualization. Radical Recovery Peer Support. Day 1. This curriculum emphasizes balanced linear growth through the development of 9 recovery fundamentals and 3 parallel recovery concepts that occur alongside each of the 9 fundamentals. The goals of this program are based on the fundamentals of recovery and the recovery concepts. They are: learn the importance of and how to perform self-care. Learn to develop a recovery plan to take recovery to greater heights. Recovery planning. Overcome challenges or troubling thoughts. Handle stressful or difficult situations. Achieve personal growth and wellness. And live a self-directed life. Learn that while participating in recovery, we are at every moment a mentor and a model of recovery behavior. From the Better Days workbook passage, Creating Change, Mahatma Gandhi, the great Indian spiritual leader, said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Gregorio Lewis, author of Better Days, restates this point by saying, "I say that first I must change myself into the person I want to be." The words from the passage Creating Change and Mahatma Gandhi indicate that by learning to focus on our personal experience of growth and change, the world will change in our direction as we model the behaviors we want to see in the world. Many programs say that giving back and helping others with the same problems as we have experienced is a sort of final step. The reasoning of this program and in peer support in general is that showing recovery is possible occurs alongside every stage in the process, and our actions create a lasting impact. Now, in addition, many people who have been successful in recovery say that giving back, taking commitments to support others, and remembering that they are an example of recovery in their communities help them the most in their recovery. The 9 Recovery Fundamentals. Recovery fundamentals are a set of characteristics that we can use to gauge the strength of our recovery and include, but are not limited to, honesty, trust, acceptance, hope, personal responsibility, self-advocacy, support, purpose, self-actualization. A breakdown of the fundamentals listed first can cause difficulty with the fundamentals listed last. Parallel recovery concepts: self-care, recovery planning, mentoring. Growth often does not occur linearly, although many of us wish it did. Imagine if you knew X amount of effort led to Y amount of growth. The linear growth model. Growth we can aim for. The linear growth model continued. The linear growth model gets its name from the idea that 1. Growth is usually nonlinear. 2. We want to put consistent effort into each of the 9 fundamentals, which will result in more, but not all, consistent experiences in our lives. 3. When developed inconsistently with this format, inconsistent and unexpected outcomes may occur. 4. When developed in the order listed previously, each of the 9 recovery fundamentals assists in the cultivation and growth of the other fundamentals. 5. When utilizing the parallel recovery concepts in conjunction with the recovery fundamentals, we can shift our results to a better outcome. With all the twists and turns and ups and downs of recovery, it can be hard to even tell if growth is occurring. By putting the same amount of effort and care into each of the recovery fundamentals, we will get more consistent results than if we were to put all of our efforts into one fundamental. Because our own actions and behaviors change and impact the world around us, it is common that when we start exhibiting a better relationship with the recovery fundamentals, we will experience a mirror effect from the world. We may sometimes wonder why it seems we receive exaggerated reactions or displays of the fundamentals directed back at us from society, but can understand that this may be connected to our own inconsistent demonstrations of the fundamentals. False sense of security. When we experience success at recovery concepts or the later fundamentals, particularly starting with personal responsibility through self-advocacy, support, and purpose, we may be lulled into a false sense of security that we are doing well despite shortfalls related to the earlier fundamentals. We encourage that no matter our level of success with later fundamentals, we take a look at how the earlier fundamentals show up for us. Gaps in our development may lead to blind spots that may damage our recovery. Why we present the recovery fundamentals and parallel recovery concepts in this order. There are many reasons that if we do not take proper care of each recovery fundamental and parallel recovery concept, we will not unlock the full growth of potential incorporating recovery concepts or fundamentals into our lives. We give examples of how neglecting components of the recovery concepts and fundamentals leads to a breakdown of the transition to the other components. Recovery concepts. This group process and other methods of recovery can be hard on us emotionally, mentally, and physically. Therefore, it is important that we are kind to ourselves and benefit from this process. From the very beginning of an attempt to better ourselves, such as participating in this group, it will be important to maintain the recovery concepts of self-care, recovery planning, and mentorship. Right from the beginning, it is important to have a self-care plan, acknowledge the difficulty of this process, and create positive experiences to look forward to. Develop a recovery plan involving the desired outcome and benefit of this process. and recognize that our participation in this process can either help or hinder the recovery of other participants. Recovery fundamentals. Honesty. If we are in fear of what someone will find out about our secrets, harm done to others, past crimes, and the things that make us feel guilt, shame, or fear of persecution, we will not know what we can trust others with. Trust. If we cannot trust ourselves or are not aware of who we can trust or what systems are working for us and not against us, we will have a hard time finding acceptance of our situation. Acceptance. If we can't accept our current situation or past experiences and are constantly suffering from them, or if someone or some force has an uncomfortable level of control over our lives, we will have a hard time recognizing things we can hope for. Hope. If we don't have any hope and are not propelled by our desire to achieve a hoped-for outcome, the natural inclination is to be unmotivated about our personal responsibilities. If we can't get satisfaction by working on our hopes, we often fail to develop and perform personal responsibilities. Personal responsibilities. If we are lacking in fulfilling our personal responsibilities, we often face resistance from others when we self-advocate for ourselves because we have less basis to show that we are capable. Self-advocacy. If we fail to effectively advocate for ourselves through means of showing that our capabilities or progress make us a good fit for certain endeavors, or if we advocate for ourselves for that which provides outcomes inconsistent with our recovery, or if we advocate to the wrong people, among other things, we may not get adequate support. Support. A significant outcome of working through the recovery fundamentals leading up to support is that we find ourselves in the best position to begin offering support. It takes support to fulfill big goals. If we do not look for support or accept support from the right people, we may have a hard time achieving our goals. With the added effort it takes to achieve goals without support, we have a hard time finding our purpose because of the effort and struggle. Now, often, things that seem more natural or easier for us, or areas where we get the most support, are also the areas excellent to find purpose. Purpose. Without a purpose with which to gauge our progress or put our efforts, we often feel like we're repeating a pattern that rarely changes, or that there is no perceivable pattern but rather instability or lack of focus. Finding and incorporating a purpose into our lives leads to self-actualization, a feeling that we are fulfilling our unique potential. Self-actualization. This recovery fundamental is often considered a final stage of development. However, to maintain this stage, we must continue to put sufficient and equal amounts of effort into each of the recovery fundamentals. Also, a benefit can be found in incorporating the parallel recovery concepts. Stages of wellness and recovery. Stage 1. 1. Learning about recovery. 2. Exercising choice. 3. Seeking services such as counseling, therapy, medication, detox, peer support. 4. Staying away from harmful behaviors. 5. Staying away from negative influences, places, or people. 6. Ending the pattern of isolation. 7. Finding positive role models. 8. Learning to ask for support. 9. Becoming personally responsible. 10. Experiencing joy and distress that can be overwhelming at times, extreme but fickle. Stage 2. 1. Increase in physical health. 2. Ability to distinguish between different feelings and handle them. 3. Reducing emotions that interfere with our well-being. 4. Changes in thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. 5. zoning in on negative behaviors. 6. Having experienced the benefits of recovery, becoming committed to recovery. Stage 3. 1. Desire to make amends for harm we caused before we began recovery. 2. Becoming the change we want to see in the world. 3. Learning not to inflict self-harm or create hardship. 4. Developing honest and trusting relationships with more people. Stage 4. 1. Ability to use our strength and knowledge to seize opportunities. 2. Automatic use of wellness tools and coping skills. 3. Self-forgiveness. 4. Building loving relationships rather than dependent ones. 5. Experiencing enduring happiness. Stage 5. 1. Becoming self-actualized. 2. Gaining confidence, gratitude, and acceptance. 3. Developing integrity and humility. 4. Significant reduction of fear. Stage 6. Celebration and maintenance. The guiding principles of recovery, taken from SAM-HSA. Hope. Belief that recovery is possible. When hope is internalized and promoted by others, it is a key driver of recovery. Person-driven. People define their own goals and the path to reaching them. Many pathways, roads. Recovery is highly personalized and different for each person. Holistic. Recovery emphasizes mind, body, spirit, and community. Peer support. Peers encourage and engage each other. Relational. Recovery is supported by people who believe in a person's ability to recover. Culture. Traditions, beliefs, and values are important in defining a person's recovery journey and path. Trauma-informed. Services should promote safety and trust, creating choice, empowerment, and collaboration. Strengths and responsibilities. Individuals, communities, and families have strengths and resources that can benefit recovery. Individuals have the responsibility for their own recovery, but family and community support is essential. Respect. Acceptance and appreciation is key to recovery. This includes respect from other people and a respect for ourselves that helps us develop a positive identity and confidence. What mentors should know. Peer support is self-directed and works on the principle that clients are the experts on their own experiences and needs. It's a type of therapy based on the idea that each person can become more self-aware, take charge of their own lives, and improve. It is person-driven. People define their own goals and the path to reaching them. Peer support uses empathy, a key component of emotional intelligence. Empathy is the ability to understand and accurately perceive the internal experiences of another person. In client-centered counseling, supporters try to show empathy by actively listening to clients, considering their feelings and experiences, and communicating and accepting them. In peer support, empowerment can come from facilitating self-discovery and growth by allowing people to make their own choices and decisions based on their own values, priorities, and goals. The therapist supports the client in identifying their strengths, resources, and areas for growth, and assists them in developing coping strategies, problem-solving skills, and self-care practices. Empathy also helps counteract learned helplessness by creating a safe and supportive environment where clients feel empowered to take ownership of their lives and make positive changes. The trauma-informed approach demands trust and safety at all levels. This practice encourages choice, collaboration, and empowerment. To practice the trauma-informed approach, request and accommodate feedback as to how to increase the safety of the environment, increase trust by practicing genuineness, and create choice by using open-ended and permission questions. Stages of change. Stages of change include pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Often mentors will fail helping someone change behaviors because they do not approach change in the order previously listed. In pre-contemplation, we educate and develop discrepancies. In contemplation, we encourage and view pros and cons. In preparation, we dismantle barriers. In action, we validate. And in maintenance, we should encourage consistency and acquiring more skills related to successful outcomes related to the goal or behavior. Some cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is outside the scope of a peer recovery supporter. Various practices like desensitization techniques and use of imagery are concepts best left to qualified clinicians. However, relaxation therapy may be utilized as well as cognitive behavioral workbooks that are crafted to address thoughts, beliefs, and feelings in a way that does not create excessive pressure on the mentee. Person-centered techniques, such as building trust and rapport, are often helpful but not required. Some mentees prefer a more distant expert approach. However, this too is outside the scope of a peer recovery supporter. Differentiate between the medical model and the wellness-focused approach to recovery. The medical model is primarily related to psychiatry. In the medical model, expert psychiatrists consider the problems being experienced to be related to genetic inheritance or chemical imbalances. They rely on medication-assisted therapy to cause positive change in their patients. This is different from the approach of a social worker, therapist, or peer supporter. A wellness-focused approach often involves peer support, or the support of someone with lived experience of mental health or substance abuse. Moreover, it considers social determinants of health, such as housing, employment, and social support as significant factors of well-being. A wellness-focused approach involves growth, meaning, purpose, and empowerment beyond the problem, which helps a person live the life they want to live. Day 2. Make sure to prepare for the special exercise found in the section for self-care. Self-care requires us to make a list of 5 wellness activities we can use to help ourselves feel better. We will discuss our list of wellness activities in group or in breakout rooms. Please be prepared ahead of time. Please complete responses to passages and questions included in future groups, such as Day 2 before the next group. Instructions for passage responses. Number 1. Response must include 5 keywords found in the passage itself. 2. Ensure that the keywords get underlined so we know which ones you used. And 3. The recovery concept or fundamental being linked to the passage must be mentioned twice in the response. Radical Recovery Peer Support. Day 2. Insights on self-care. Self-care is any healthy action we can take to feel better. Sometimes we use self-care to respond to stressors, triggering events, or when we feel like we are in crisis. Self-care that might work normally may not work as well under very difficult conditions. Tip for dealing with stressors. One suggestion for how to deal with especially difficult situations is to put more time and effort into the things we usually do to make us feel better. Really good self-care is often planned. Planning self-care before we feel unwell has benefits, such as having something to look forward to or helping us not forget self-care. Because of this, it is often included in recovery planning. Examples of self-care. Remembering our boundaries and what we will or will not do. Being of service to others. Writing a gratitude list. Spending time with family and friends. Getting enough sleep. taking breaks. Stressors, burnout, vicarious trauma, poor time management, and compassion fatigue are common reasons we provide self-care for ourselves. Doing something nice for yourself. Page 64 of Better Days, a mental health recovery workbook. For those of us who live with mental health struggles, our lives can often feel overwhelmed by adversity. When we are going through our recovery process, we can be so focused on taking care of all the aspects of our lives that we want or need to improve that we often skip enjoying simple pleasures such as sitting in the sun, reading a good book, going to the movies, going on a picnic, or playing with a puppy. For all the hard work we do to nurture our recovery process, we also deserve to laugh and smile because it's so good for our mind, body, and soul. As individuals with mental health struggles, our lives are often very complicated. We're worthy of doing nice things for ourselves, especially while dealing with lives complicated by triggers and frustrations. If we can take some time to do something nice for ourselves, the result is that better days are on the way and better days are here to stay. The assignment, "How does this passage relate to?" must include 5 key words from the passage itself which cannot be used or counted more than once. In addition, the recovery concept or fundamental must be mentioned at least twice in the assignment. Words that do not convey a concept like we, the, or will not be counted. Variations of words that are used in the passages are accepted, such as changing simple to simplest. You must underline the key words you use. Example: how does the passage connect to self-care? The passage reminds us that while we are focused on our most essential goals and challenges first, such as the things we want or need, we may overlook simple pleasures that can give us joy with little effort. Actively participating in things that bring us joy is an example of self-care. The simplest of actions and pleasures is often the most accessible option. Because we often are playing catch-up rather than being ahead of the curve, and because we are weighed down by stressors, triggers, and things that make life complicated, sometimes we believe we aren't worthy of or don't deserve nice things in our lives. But it is because of these challenges that we must find simple methods of self-care by doing nice things for ourselves. Recovery planning. Recovery planning is self-determined, but often it includes friends and family, supporters, or community leaders. Recovery planning is done with the collaboration of individuals involved and utilizes recovery capital. A recovery plan is based on self-determination, identifies strengths of the individual and takes inventory of recovery capital, identifies goals, challenges, action steps, and date of completion, may involve support from others and connection to community resources and leadership. Need to be evaluated and measured for progress. Criteria for evaluation should come from the person creating the plan and should be considered before action if possible. What a recovery plan looks like on paper. Goal: get a master's degree. Strengths and recovery capital: have a bachelor's degree. The time: am on disability and am self-employed. Experienced with online courses. The challenges: classes are condensed, so more is required in a shorter time. The action steps: clear agenda for the first week. Start each day with school first. Complete all assignments before recreation. The date of completion: August 10th, 2025. Recovery planning. Page 32 of Better Days, a mental health recovery workbook. Struggling is part of the recovery. Therefore, we all experience tough times. If we learn better ways to manage those tough days in which we are triggered or having difficulties, we will be happier and healthier in the long run. If we learn better ways to nurture our recovery process, we can do better and feel better. We can have more control over how we feel when things are tough. If we want things to be better, we must make healthy choices to work toward our better day. I know all of this to be true based on my own personal experiences. The reality is that if we want to feel better, then we need to work at it. When we're struggling, we can work toward making things better. We can choose to help ourselves move through our recovery process. We will succeed. How does this passage connect with recovery planning? This passage mentions better ways to handle situations. These better ways are actions we can take to improve our lives. It says that doing this will help us control how we feel when times are tough. A recovery plan is a set of actions that we self-select that hold value. And when times are tough, working on this plan can move us from where we are now to where we want to be. The author states their own personal experience and that from it, they know work must be done if we want to feel better. From my experience, it is work that comes through my recovery plan that has the most impact on how I feel. Mentoring. Mentoring provides an opportunity to be there for a person in a way that supports them in both the best of times and the worst. A mentor utilizes self-disclosure in a way that does not compete with, but rather informs an individual of shared experiences. A good mentor will respect each person's unique approach to recovery. A mentor should be primarily focused on the person they are mentoring, only sharing about themselves when it would benefit the mentee. We never know just what kind of impact we will have on others. Mentoring is constant and ongoing and occurs in situations where we present the best or worst aspects of ourselves. What mentors should do. Identify personal issues that negatively impact one's ability to perform mentor duties and perform appropriate self-care before assisting others further. Utilize consultation regarding dual relationships. Utilize de-escalation techniques and educate individuals on suicide prevention concepts. And partner with the individual to access recovery-oriented services and supports. Support the individual to identify options and participate in decisions connected to creating and completing recovery goals. Promote a wellness-focused approach to recovery. Utilize supervision and consultation regarding harm to self and others. Respond appropriately to personal stressors, triggers, and indicators. Utilize trauma-informed care approaches. Assess the mentee's satisfaction with his or her progress towards recovery goals. Participate as a member of the individual's treatment team. Guarantee that recovery is based on the individual's strengths and resiliencies. Support the individual in defining spirituality on their own terms. Assist others to develop problem-solving skills. Assure that relationships, services, and supports reflect individual differences and cultural diversity. Support the individual's use of self-determination. Model acceptance and cultural humility. Partner with individuals to assist them in identifying their strengths, challenges to recovery, and recovery capital. Apply motivational interviewing to assist individuals enduring stages of change. Inform individuals of their options related to decisions that affect their recovery. Mahatma Gandhi. Remembering the words of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. One way to affect change is through mentoring. Sometimes we struggle. Page 4 of Better Days, a mental health recovery workbook. Well, there are days when I feel so bad that I become unable to see things for how they really are. Often my thoughts are twisting and turning throughout a maze of total and brutal negativity that I find myself gasping for air, grasping for a hand to hold on to. Yet sometimes it seems that I'm very alone. I ask myself, is this struggle for wellness and recovery worthy of all my efforts? Why am I dedicating all my hard work and time and effort toward my recovery? What is this recovery that I'm fighting so hard for? It's important for us to think of the big picture. When we work hard to improve our quality of life and strengthen our coping skills, we will experience beneficial results. When we struggle, experience difficulties in question or recovery, we can and will take back our lives and celebrate our progress and accept that sometimes we all struggle. Our struggle has meaning, and our recovery is here to stay. Creating Change, page 16. Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. People say that change comes from within. This saying applies to most people, including people living with mental health struggles. What does it mean to change from within? When I have something about myself or my life that I want to improve, I must work hard and implement changes in how I do things. I achieve this by focusing my thoughts on my goals and by taking healthy actions for change. Mahatma Gandhi, the great Indian spiritual leader, said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." I say that first I must change myself into the person I want to be. The ability to choose to change ourselves for the better is something that no one can take away from us. We can and will live better lives, beginning with having a better day starting today. Being in the Moment, page 40. Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. Now, in the past week, my recovery experience has taught me so much. My inner pain is erupting like a volcano and damaging all in my path. This cycle plagues me time and time again and derails my recovery. But no more will I allow myself to give in to the pain and extreme negativity that I feel at times. Never again will I allow myself to suffer without also trying to fight my way out of my pain. I can and I will learn better ways to manage my life when I am struggling. We will allow our recovery to heal us, and we will grow and live a better quality of life. When we struggle, we decide in that moment if we want to make things better. If we want better days, we must work hard to have them. Working Through Pain, page 58. Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. I've been suffering in pain for nearly 2 weeks. I keep getting better and then getting worse again. I've had to force myself to go to school and be active and social and follow through with my general daily responsibilities and activities. I know I'm not the only person who knows what suffering feels like. I know that there are others like me who can understand and who have empathy for me. How do we get ourselves to eat and sleep and bathe, talk, laugh, love, find peace, find happiness, and find our recovery process when it feels lost? How do we find our better day? How do we keep moving forward in life when we feel broken or stuck? When Good Things Happen, page 24. The Original Peer Support Recovery and Coping Skills Workbook and Curriculum. I can't believe it. I've experienced so much pain, hurt, and difficulty in my life that I sometimes become unable to accept good things when they happen. This is an honest reaction to a very tough life. I've put in a lot of hard work to make improvements in my life and to be in recovery. Recovery is a constant, daily process that we must always put our effort toward in order to live the better life we want and to have better days. Today, thankfully, several good things happened. It was unexpected. However, these good things are a testament to all of my effort, hard work, and dedication that I've put toward my recovery and living a better life. Well, sometimes good things happen, and we need to accept, acknowledge, and celebrate these good things. Why, you ask? Because we are worth it. Positive Risk, page 20. The Original Peer Support Recovery and Coping Skills Workbook and Curriculum. This weekend, I took a step forward in my recovery. I took a positive risk. I was scared and nervous, however, I stood up to my feelings and I succeeded. It is never easy having to take a chance. Recovery is such a precious thing. I know that in order to live a better quality of life, I must take some chances. I'm talking about taking a positive risk. And this is how I move forward. I must give myself the chance to heal, to get better. No one will do it for me. Only I can do it for myself. Sometimes we have to invest in our better future, better day by better day by better day. The homework. For the current year, create a recovery plan involving 7 goals, activities that you have every day, and some activities you will need to do every once in a while. In the area for the date, if it's not ongoing, list the date of completion. If it is ongoing, state whether it is something that is done every day or how often it will be done. Please indicate both daily tasks and those we must do every now and then. Start with things you struggle with rather than things you find easy. Next, create a list of 7 big goals you have or things that are vitally important that you want to or must do within the year. Ensure that this list or recovery plan includes how you will support your basic needs like shelter, food, and bills. Make the goal specific and attainable. During Day 4, we will present a goal from each category of the recovery plan and the action steps for the goal. During this part of the audiobook, we will now ask the homework questions from Radical Recovery Peer Support Day 2, except for the questions that ask how the passage relates to the concepts discussed. We will provide approximately 12 seconds between each question to allow you an opportunity to consider them. Question 1. What are 3 simple pleasures that make you happy? Question 2. Why is it important to be gentle to yourself? Question 3. How will our lives improve by spending time enjoying simple pleasures? Question 4. Name and explain one method that you currently use to get back on track during tough times. Question 5. Give an example of one way that you would like to learn how to help yourself feel better. Question 6. What does recovery mean to you? Question 7. Do you believe there is meaning and value in your struggle and why? Question 8. In your daily life, how do you manage the ups and downs that you face without being thrown off course? Question 9. What are 3 reasons you are fighting for your recovery? Question 10. What are the top 3 things that you want to change about yourself? Question 11. What good things have you gained from your struggle with mental well-being? Question 12. What is the number one thing you can do today to improve your life for the better? Question 13. What does being in the moment mean to you? Question 14. What are 3 things that you can do when you are struggling so you can start to feel better? Question 15. Do you believe that it is possible to learn better ways to manage your life? Question 16. I asked my loved ones and my supporters to remind me that my pain will pass when I am suffering. In what ways can people support you to help you when you are suffering? Question 18. When you're feeling overwhelmed, what are 2 healthy things that you can do to help yourself feel better? Question 19. What is one thing that you have done this week that you struggled with yet succeeded at accomplishing? Question 20. The best part of being in recovery is. Question 21. The most difficult part of being in recovery is. Question 22. When I'm upset, the best thing I can do to take care of myself is. Question 23. What do you do to move forward after something intense and upsetting happens in your life? Question 24. What is a positive risk that you have taken recently? Question 25. What is one thing you would like to improve about your life and how you live it? Radical Recovery Peer Support. Day 3. Honesty. Many of us have baggage. In recovery, we may resist new healthy behaviors and thoughts. This may often stem from a lack of honesty about 3 factors. 1. That we have been hurt. 2. That we have hurt ourselves or others. And 3. The nature of the severity of the hurt. It's important to acknowledge if we are not honest with ourselves about how we've been hurt ourselves or others, or the severity, we may repeat unfavorable experiences. Let's take a minute to be honest with ourselves about ourselves. On page 152 and 153, you'll find a list of virtues, values, and character defects. Please read the directions and complete the activity. Every person has some of each. Please indicate at least 5 of each. Accountability, page 6. Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. I've made countless mistakes over the course of my life. I have damaged others, and I've damaged myself. It is said that time heals all wounds. But what does this mean? Is this true? I think that taking responsibility for our actions can be an empowering process. Each of us possesses the ability to liberate ourselves from the chains of our past. The decisions that we make today and tomorrow are a gateway toward a better day and a better life. Being self-aware, page 10, Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. One of the most important components of mental health recovery is being self-aware. What does it mean to be self-aware? Are you aware of how you speak to people? Are you aware of how others perceive you when you are communicating with them? Are you aware of your body language and the message your body language sends to others? Are you aware of your attitude? Are you aware of how you are improving your life? Are you aware of the things that you do that are causing you problems? Can being self-aware help you to get where you want to go in life? Trust. There are different levels of trust. We can have trust in a specific person or people that we trust, in the systems we are in, such as our government's legal system or system of wellness or therapy, and self-trust, trusting that we have our own best interests in mind. Within these is determining who can we rely on, who we cannot, and what we can share with others. A tip for trust. Self-disclosure. It is important to remember we never need to share something that would make us uncomfortable. There is more we can share with others than something that would make us uncomfortable. It is different to share things we want to keep private versus our hopes and goals and stresses. There is no guarantee what we say will remain confidential. Dealing with conflict, trusting others, page 34, the original Peer Support Recovery and Coping Skills Workbook and Curriculum. In my life, I've experienced a great deal of conflict. At times, I've struggled with knowing which people I can get the most helpful support from. This is an issue of trust. Let's talk about what trust is and how having a trustworthy confidant is important to your recovery. Having a safe person who you can trust to help you is important. Having that person will help you feel less alone in your struggle. As people in recovery, our lives present countless opportunities for us to develop trust in others and to learn to trust in ourselves. We can create better days, one trusting moment at a time, because we do not need to be alone in our struggle. The Importance of Companionship, page 46, of Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. As a person who lives with a mental health struggle, I'm well aware of how lonely and alone my life can feel at times. I have learned that it is possible to make progress toward improving my relationships. However, this requires hard work. Why is companionship so important for a person going through the recovery process? Do you feel that you can count on your peers to be supportive and listen if you need them to? Let's think about our lives. Are there people in yours that you can reach out to? Perhaps offer support to each other. Perhaps build friendships with. As people living with a mental health struggle, our lives can feel very alone. We can change this for the better and find happiness, companionship, and peace. The Value in Our Struggle. Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. I sit here very tired, sick, and cold, and feeling useless. It's as if my body continues to struggle towards mental wellness independently of my conscious mind. I think this is because somewhere along my journey to recovery, I found hope and promise and options in my struggle. The struggle has never been easy for me. It's been a constant life lesson, knocking me down and then helping me up over and over again. Our struggles have value. The struggles of every person using this workbook are valuable. Our struggles teach us how to live and how to be. Someday we will look back and say, thank goodness for the experiences we have had and for how much we have grown. And then we'll realize that we are strong and we can be proud and we can celebrate our lives. Acceptance. Each person is subject to different degrees of unforeseen circumstances, restrictions, rules, and regulations. For the most part, these obstacles depend on our situation, can be temporary, or can be changed with support. While we must deal with these situations while they occur, we can find ways to have hope within them and have better days. A tip for trauma or grief informed. Many people will report that there are things that they cannot or will not accept. This is okay. Remind them that they can still work on other fundamentals and that there is a difference between 1, accepting that an event took place, and 2, accepting an event into our lives and our space. We must keep moving. Sometimes it is the things we find the hardest to accept that take us off the path of our life purpose. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. believed that the most important thing each person must do is figure out their life purpose and let nothing hold them back from being the very best at the purpose they have chosen. While we may struggle to find acceptance, we can let nothing hold us back. In the words of Dr. King, we must keep moving. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. We can't control everything. Page 38, Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. The recovery journey can introduce many wonderful experiences into our lives. With that said, there are things that may happen in our daily life that are completely out of our control. On my experience, I've found that part of living in this world is having to face the fact that I'm unable to control all the parts of my life. Yesterday, I had to face being insulted and have some very hurtful things said to me about me for something that was not my responsibility in any way. I had no control over the cause of this situation. However, as I was a bearer of some bad news, I became the target. I hurt, and I hurt a lot. Then my day went on and my life went on, and it was up to me to accept there are things that I cannot control, that I have done my very best, and that unfortunately, things don't always work out the way I would like them to. However, my life goes on, and I will continue to work as hard as humanly possible to achieve my better days. Experiencing Recovery, page 40. Original Peer Support Recovery and Coping Skills Workbook and Curriculum. Today may be the beginning of my being well. I must be realistic. It is absolutely possible that I might be feeling better as of today. Things in my life could be a lot worse. I've suffered, and my suffering has been a great teacher. If there is a lesson out there to be taught, I want to learn it. I suspect that I may have been well these past several weeks and just not have known it. Perhaps this was a necessary part of experiencing recovery. If I'm hurting, yet stay on track, that is recovery. If you're struggling or in despair and you continue to work hard to keep yourself together, this is recovery. Accepting Your Life, page 42, Original Peer Support Recovery and Coping Skills Workbook and Curriculum. Life happens. Life will go on whether things have been fair or not. Life will go on if you have made a big mistake. Life will go on if you win $1 million. Life will go on no matter what. Life will go on if you break your arm. Life will go on if you have surgery. Life will go on if you have a financial crisis. Life will go on. Your life will continue. We must accept that life will happen, and sometimes there's nothing that we can do about it. If we suffer pain, loneliness, regret, embarrassment, or any other difficult feeling, we must accept our life. We must accept our life, and we must accept our reality. We must also accept that each and every one of us has the power within to make a better day for ourselves, no matter what the circumstances we find ourselves in. Life will go on no matter what. I know that I will live my life fighting for that better day because I have to. I have no other option. Better days are on the way, and better days are here to stay. Day 4 Introduction. Please be prepared to discuss a goal for each category of your one-year recovery plan. Have a great week. During this part of the audiobook, we will now ask the homework questions from Radical Recovery Peer Support, Day 3, except for the questions that ask how the passage relates to the concepts discussed. We will provide approximately 12 seconds between each question to allow you an opportunity to consider them. Question 1. List 3 ways that your life has been affected by decisions that you have made. Question 2. Name one mistake that you have made in your life and what you've learned because of it. Question 3. List 3 things that you want to improve in your life and what you can do to make that happen. Question 4. In what 2 ways are you self-aware? Question 5. What are 2 things that you know about yourself that you would like to change or improve? Question 6. How can being more self-aware make your life better? Question 7. List the names of 3 people who you can trust if you are having an intense challenge. Question 8. How do you manage a tough situation when you don't have someone to talk to for support? Question 9. Why is being able to trust others important to your recovery? Question 10. Name one worthwhile friendship that you have in your life. What are the best parts about having this friendship? Question 11. What does having a good friend mean to you? What does it mean to be a good friend? Question 12. Why is peer support and friendship so important to have when a person is in the recovery process? Question 13. When you feel terrible, unable to function or manage your life, what are two things that you can do to get yourself back on track? Question 14. What are two things that you can ask someone else to help you with during your times of need? Question 15. Looking back over your life, what are two experiences in which you have struggled and then found that you have learned a good and helpful lesson? Question 16. Take 5 minutes and ask a safe person to talk with you about any topic that you're interested in that is unrelated to your struggle. How did things go for you? Question 17. Then take 5 minutes and ask that same person how they are doing today. Then ask that person to ask you how you are doing. This is peer support. Question 18. When things happen that are out of your control, what are three things that you can do to help yourself feel better and to have a better day? Question 19. What does it mean to you to experience recovery? Question 20. In what ways do you know that you're doing well? Question 21. How does this coping skills guide help you improve the quality of your life? Question 22. What are three things that you feel are unfair about your life? Question 23. In what three ways do you live your life in a hopeful way? Question 24. What are three steps that you could take to make your life better today?
Thank you for listening to the Radical Recovery Peer Support Sample Audiobook. In order to listen to the whole book, please subscribe and listen to 1 hour or more of our recordings and videos. Thank you.